Hello dear friends, I'm with you. In today's video, I continue to tell you about the fashion of vampirism, and this time, it will be about the followers of the glorious Van Helsing, vampire hunters. How can we join the ranks of fearless fighters against evil spirits, and what methods to fight those who have declared war on all living things? Let's look at it in order. We should start with the same thing that the blood-sucking part of the players may have chosen to start with, the house of the hunter-trainer, which are randomly generated in some villages. Outwardly, it looks like a classic big house, but the log inserts in it have eaten away. Even if it is not located in a spruce forest, go into the house and look into the chest. There are all sorts of useful things for hunters. In particular, garlic may turn out to be. If it is not there, then there is a small vegetable garden 3 blocks in size behind the house. There you will find garlic with an absolute guarantee. If it has already grown, collect it. And in general, I recommend in the future to arrange a bigger vegetable garden for growing this wonderful plant. It will be useful to you more than once. Now you will need glass, 2 blocks and 1 panel to craft a syringe like this. Combine this syringe with garlic and get a garlic injection. To inject it yourself, go into the house, take a syringe in your hand, and right-click on this chair, which is always in the coach's house. You will receive second-level poisoning for about 10 seconds, but after that, you will become immune to the vampire infection of Sanguinara vampiris. That is, you can no longer turn into a vampire as a result of a bite, and you will get your first achievement as a hunter, which is called the beginning of the hunt. By the way, if for some reason you needed more of these chairs, well, you never know. Maybe you decided to lay out deck chairs on the beach, and then their craft is like this. Now you are a hunter of the first level. Your level is visible as a blue number between the health scale and the hunger scale, exactly the same as that of vampires. Like vampires, hunters have a skill grid that opens by default with the same English letter pi Russian Z. And in our skills we now see that we only got becoming a hunter. So we still need to upgrade our skills. Unlike vampires, hunters don't build altars, but they still have to make some sacrifices. But of course there will be victims on the part of vampires. To raise the level, we have to pass, so to speak, certification from other hunters. If we turn to the hunter trainer right now, he won't even talk to us because in his understanding, we are still green brats, almost vampire food. So let's go talk to other hunters, namely those who spawn everywhere on the map. You can find them, for example, near such tent camps. If we right-click on an NPC hunter, he will say that we have to get him 1 bottle of vampire blood. Well, let's go kill vampires. However, before that, we need to prepare a little, because this very blood will not just fall out no matter how many vampires we kill. To get vampire blood, you have to kill with a stake. The stake is simply crafted a board in the middle, and 2 sticks on top and bottom. And it's better to make at least 1 spare, because if you are going to beat vampires all night, then you may have time to break 1 stake. Note that the stake does very little damage to the vampire, 1.5 units, no more, so you can dodge it cunningly. Take an ordinary sword and beat them until the vampire has a minimum of health, and only then finish off with stakes. When killing a vampire with a hunting weapon, a vampire soul, and with a certain probability, vampire blood fall out of it. Teeth, they are also fangs, drop no matter what weapon you hit. Save your souls for now, it will still do, and bring the blood to any hunter. The hunter will immediately pump you up to the 2nd level, open the skill grid, and see if we can learn to use the stake more effectively. He will kill any vampire who has less than 35% of health left. That is, the stake becomes a more effective finishing tool. By the way, killing a vampire with a stake, you will get a hunting point right in the heart. To get the 3rd level, we have to bring 5 bottles of vampire blood to the hunter, and an increase in attack speed becomes available to us, which is already very good by human standards. On the 4th level, we will need 12 bottles already, and by bringing them, we will be able to discover the disguise. Masking allows you to become less visible to mobs and other players. This ability is called Firm the Skill Socket. By default, it is assigned to Latin P, Russian K, and then the mouse. The screen becomes like this with a dark frame around the edges. It is necessary to use this ability carefully, because first, vampires and other mobs will still expose you if you get too close. And secondly, you cannot inflict any damage to the enemy in disguise, and you cannot destroy or expose blocks. To do this, the disguise will have to be thrown off. As for the blocks, everything is logical here. But with the damage, in my opinion, there is clearly some kind of flaw, so the skill is so-so. The fourth level is the maximum that you can achieve from Wandering Hunters. To get further levels, you will need an expert, a real maestro of destroying bloodsuckers. This expert is the coach in the house. But this guy won't work for free. Not only do you have to bring him proof of your anti-vampire activities, but he will also demand that you pay more and more for each level. So, here is a complete list of what you will need to upgrade from the trainer to the maximum hunting level. That is, as you can see, you not only need to kill vampires, but also dig into the bowels of the earth. In total, you have to get 240 bars of iron and 110 bars of gold. And this is only for tuition fees. And what kind of hunter's guide is required for each level separately? You ask, and you will be absolutely right. Getting such a book is a separate story. Before you go to ask the coach to raise your level, you need to use this thing that stands in his own house. Its name was translated into Russian for some reason as the Hunter's Weapon Table, but in fact, it is the Hunter's Research Table. If for some unknown reason he disappeared, broke down, got lost, but I do not know what else could have happened to him there, it can also be crafted. It is relatively easy to do this. Boards, a book, garlic, and fangs. But you and I right-click on the table, go into its interface, and see slots for certain items. Under them, the table tells us what we lack for happiness. So, to create a hunter's guide, we need, that is, you can see, these books are not simple. To create them, you will have to chop up vampires in batches, and everything wouldn't be a problem if it only concerned ordinary vampires. But after the 5th level, we will need to fight with vampire barons, which means we will have to go to the vampire forest, where there are a lot of vampires both day and night. When you have collected everything you need to level up, go to the trainer and right-click. It will open the interface, and you will be able to put everything that it requires of you into the slot. Then, click on the Raise Level button, and everything will be flooded with warm yellow light, and the saturation effect of the third level will be superimposed on you for a few seconds, symbolizing your saturation with new knowledge. When you reach the maximum hunting level, the 14th, as with vampires, you get a point as ready as ever, or deadlier does not happen, if literally translated. Like vampires, you can spend a total of 13 points to unlock new skills. And up to and including the 4th level, we have already reviewed them with you. Let's take a look at the rest. Like vampires, hunters have 3 directions. The first direction is for very direct guys who don't like to bother too much to invent something like that. Their motto is hit, collie, cut, shoot. And the first thing that becomes available to us in this branch is the weapon table. That is, a real weapons table, and not the one that we used to create hunting books. Creating a hunting table, in general, is not difficult compared to everything we have to go through. To do this, we need iron. By right-clicking on this table, we can enter its interface, and it is a 4x4 crafting grid. I must say right away that the weapon table works using lava. You can pour lava into it by right-clicking on it, holding a bucket of glory in your hand. If you have laid out crafting on the weapons table, and this bucket of glory suddenly becomes circled in red, it means that there is not enough lava in it to create. It does not work to pour lava into an incomplete table. It is better not to try, otherwise you risk pouring it on yourself. But you can remove the table with a pickaxe and reinstall it. Then the lava in it will reset to 0, and you can fill a full tank. And that's what we can create with our weapons table. If you looked carefully, you notice that many items require the discovery of certain skills, which means a higher level. But already at the 5th level, we can get more or less decent weapons and armor. Here, for example, is a crossbow. Craft is like this, and the vampire killer bolts with such an expensive craft fit him. But let's see how effective they are. These bolts are very successful at killing low-level vampires with 1 or 2 shots. But vampires are more powerful, and they do not have such an effect on all other mobs. In general, if you want to shoot skeletons, then do it with ordinary arrows. It will be cheaper and more efficient. If you want more shot power, you'll have to spend skill points on developing a cooler weapon, but more on that later. Further on the 5th level, villas are available to us. Yes, the very villas that the villagers arm themselves with when the vampires really bother them. Note that the damage of these forks is even higher than that of a vanilla diamond ball. And by the way, unlike all the other things that are being crafted in the hunter's weapon table, villas are the only thing that not only hunters, but absolutely any players can use. Let's try them out on our blood-sucking friends. And the villas we have turned out to be extremely good. They are great for communicating not only with vampires, but also effective against zombies, skeletons, spiders, creepers, and even other vampire hunters. Well, you never know what you won't share, and just slaughtering a pig is also suitable. In general, the pitchfork is very steering, and if you remember that we spent only 2 ingots of iron to create them from valuable materials, then you will certainly share my delight. We also have such a hunter's axe available to us. The texture she once had was not very good. Before she looked more like a hammer or a sign that she holds at protest actions. But now it has been updated, and now it looks quite decent. Craft is like this. She only has 6 damage, but she deals 10% more damage to vampires, and even throws them away. In general, nothing it will do. Although the villas seemed more fun to me, the second version of this axe, improved, is also already available to us. But in order to craft it, we need to have a whole bucket of lava in the weapon table. If you have used up even a little bit from there, then nothing will work. And of course, don't forget about the diamonds. Here we have an axe, and already in the inventory, it is clear that according to the characteristics, it is better than its non-extended version. Let's go try it out. Yes, with this axe, you can already go to the vampire biome. He throws vampires right and left. My verdict is good. Now let's talk about armor. In general, without any problems, we can create such a hunter's hat, which gives armor for 2 shirts. It happens to be from 2 models. It's which one you like best. Then, there are 3 main types of armor available to us: Impetuosity armor, Hunting cover armor, and Hell's Obsidian armor. Impetuosity armor is difficult to craft in the sense that you need a potion of impetuosity to create it. It is being crafted like this. In addition to the impetuosity potion, you will need leather and garlic. A full set gives you 7 shirt armor. Not the most reliable protection, but you can run in it like a vampire, very fast. Hunting cover armor. It is made of leather, garlic, iron, and vampire fangs. In a set, he gives us a full armor of 10 shirts. A full set of this armor protects us from vampire blood vision and their ability to immobilize, although vampire barons will still be able to slow you down somewhat, and this armor will cause additional damage to any vampire who tries to bite you. That is, no vampire will take you with bare teeth in such armor. Obsidian armor, yes, requires a bucket of lava, obsidian, iron, and a little leather to create each element. A full set gives you full protection, but also slows you down. This armor is fireproof, so you cannot be afraid of fire in it. In general, you will survive for some time and stay in the lava in this armor, but the lava is gradually damaging it, so be careful. Blows hold this armor perfectly. You can be said to be a real tank in it. After reaching the 6th level, in the first branch, we can unlock a choice of 2 skills: attack fast as the wind or double it. In the first case, our attack speed will increase even more. If we choose the second one, then the crafting of a crossbow becomes available to us, which releases 2 bolts at once. Let's compare this original weapon with its simplified version. As you can see, it deals damage twice as high as a simple crossbow. Having reached the 7th level, we again have a choice to craft improved weapons or improved crossbows. But in fact, so far I have not found any additional cold weapons that could be crafted. The improved axe is also being crafted at the 5th level without any problems. Perhaps the developers are thinking of adding something, so we will open the improved crossbows with you and immediately test them. We can craft improved crossbows out of iron. There are 2 variants of them, simple and double, but you can craft a double one only if you have previously chosen the double it skill. Well, now let's go shoot a little. The improved crossbow deals the same damage as a wooden double, but only spends 1 arrow. But the double superior is generally a terrible weapon. With 1 shot, it removes almost the entire life of a zombie. At the 8th level, we get the opportunity to improve all the same types of armor, which I have already told you about earlier. Their crafts are more expensive, and you can see that their properties are an order of magnitude better. And I'll make a reservation right away that all the same types of armor, but you can find a special quality in the treasuries. They don't have crafting, so if they found something like that, then it's worth taking care of it. Improved impetuosity armor, if worn in a full set, also adds to your jumping ability. In them, you can jump over fences, but in a special armor of impetuosity, you will become almost as sharp as vampires, and you will be able to jump over as many as 2 blocks. Hell's Obsidian armor, an improved version of it, is much better at containing lava damage than its simple version. 4 trips to Hell, I think the thing is simply priceless. At the 9th level, in the first branch, technology opens up to us. This skill allows you to create simply hellish things: crossbows, semi-automatic machines. Their crafting is like this, and there is also an improved version that is crafted like this, but you can only shoot them with clips. The clip is being crafted like this. He shoots in bursts of 12 arrows, followed by reloading. To release the entire clip, hold down the right mouse button. The rate of fire, as you can see, is just fantastic. I didn't find any difference in damage between the simple and improved version, but there is a difference in strength. The last point in the first branch, we will learn how to actually use the stake. By opening this skill, you can kill any vampire with a stake once, sneaking up on him from behind, provided that this vampire has less than 200 health units. It's not easy to pull it off alone, but if you play on the server, then, while your partner distracts the bloodsucker, you may well manage to pierce his dead heart. Now let's look at what the second branch gives us. The motto of the hunters of this branch is to knock out a wedge with a wedge. They prefer to beat the enemy with his own weapon. In other words, they use vampire blood to enhance the capabilities of their body. The first thing that becomes available to us in this branch is a table of blood potions. You can create it like this: 3 pieces of iron, 3 bubbles, and 2 boards. We install the table, right-click on it, and we open this interface. To use this device, put garlic in the uppermost slot, and a bubble with vampire blood in the lower left one. What you get at the exit is a bubble with a surprise, each time with a new one. You can get some very good buffs that will be combined with bad ones, or it will turn out that you have drunk some terrible poison at all. But it doesn't matter. Just know that it would be nice to keep a cow on the farm, because her milk removes all the effects of potions. Then we are given a choice: improved potion brewing, or good or bad. By choosing the first one, we reduce the risk of getting negative effects. By choosing the second one, we can find out how many bad effects there are in the resulting potion. It looks like this. You still don't know what kind of effects are in the potions, but you can choose those in which there are fewer bad effects than good ones. The bad ones are highlighted here in red, the good ones in green. But personally, I would probably prefer the first opportunity. At least, there will be a higher probability of getting good effects. Well, if I make a mistake, the cow will save me. Then we can choose again: a quick potion brew or an advanced alchemist. With the fast cooking of potions, everything is clear. But an advanced alchemist gives us the opportunity to get a hint of how the substances placed in the potion will affect the manufactured product. For example, if you put a diamond, it will give a certain effect, which is designated as other. What exactly he's doing, I still don't understand. If you put vampire fangs, it will give some random vampire skill. However, alchemy is alchemy for experimenting, so I'm not going to be here for a long time, and I suggest that you test yourself in the role of creators of doping for hunters. If you get something interesting, be sure to share your experience in the comments. The next point is that we have no elections. It just opens up to an improved reaction of the body to the potion. That is, the effect of potions will last longer, and I got the impression that the effect is prolonged only from positive potions. Then, we can learn how to brew a potion right on the go. To open your portable potion maker, click Ctrl by Russian, and now you can craft a potion without carrying a table of blood potions. True, the cooking processes are somewhat slower in this way. We need to choose the last ability of the branch of hunters, creators of blood potions, either to reduce the chance of getting bad effects, or to become a potion master and learn some of the effects of the brew we make. But again, we do not learn everything, which is somewhat sad. It looks something like this. We will be able to find out 1 or 2 effects. The rest will be the same mystery. What can I say about this branch? Personally, I was not impressed with her. Of course, it's much easier to craft a potion with it. You don't need to go to hell and so on. But the trouble is that at the exit, in any case, we get a pig in a poke. And this almost negates the entire value of these potions. Let's now consider the latest trend of vampire hunters. These guys can be called alchemists with a capital letter of the word. They do not envy vampires, and do not invent any garbage from vampire blood in order to improve their poor abilities, but create substances that really help in the fight against evil bloodsuckers. The first thing that becomes available in this branch is the creation of an alchemical cauldron. This ability is called basic alchemy, and we can craft the boiler this way. Let's install our boiler and see what to do with it. Right-click to open the interface. The first thing we can create is pure salt. It is needed for the preparation of holy salt, which is used to obtain holy water, but more on that later. To prepare pure salt, place the fuel in the lower slot and a bucket of water in the upper one. In general, the book says put a container with any liquid, but I only got it with a bucket of water. You can leave the interface and not graze the pot, but go about your business, he's going to gurgle like that. This is very convenient, because you can set up several boilers at once and cook at the same time. As a result, you will get a few pieces of purified salt. What to do with this salt next? Go to the church to the altar and light it up by right-clicking, holding salt in your hand. It will turn into holy salt. We can use this holy salt to create holy water, which is very useful in the fight against vampires. But first, we need a vanilla potion maker. With the help of it, we will be able to cook salted holy water, after which we will get a local potion maker. To make it just holy water, run back to the church and again light up this matter on the altar. Now that we have holy water, we can use it to create explosive potions and directly cast the name of vampires. However, damage them not very much, takes off somewhere 3 hearts, but it prevents vampires from using disguise and invisibility. The explosive potion is created in the classic way of vanilla potions, but there is still an option to use this very water to create an alchemical fire. Alchemical fire is generally a very cool thing. Vampires are generally quite weak to fire, so creating a barrier of alchemical fire may be a useful thought. This fire is good because it does not spread to other blocks and burns until it is extinguished. He's also fucking beautiful. In general, it is written in the book that it is possible to create arrows that spread alchemical fire, and in the fashion tab, these arrows really are there, and they shoot very effectively. However, in fact, it turned out that they do not have craft. At least, I never managed to create them in survival mode. If any of you, dear friends, knows what the catch is, do not be lazy to share your knowledge in the comments. I will be extremely grateful to you. Then, in the branch of real alchemists, we have an opportunity called repulsive vampires, and we are learning how to make a garlic diffuser that can pretty much spoil the bloodsucker hunt for the inhabitants of our village, or protect our housing. Here, I think I'll make a small digression and tell you a little about garlic, which is added to mods in Vampirism. Unfortunately, it is impossible to eat it, but you should know that garlic has a debilitating effect on vampires, even if it just grows in the beds. He certainly will not punish them in this form, but weakens and disorients. Moreover, the garlic effect is obtained not only by vampire mobs, but also by players. As you can see, it gives a vampire a second-level weakness, as well as an effect called garlic. As I understand it, this effect prevents the use of some vampire abilities. So garlic fields can be used as a barrier strip from vampires. At least, it will be much easier for you to fight them on the garlic field. However, keep in mind that this is how only grown garlic acts, and not just planted. But the usefulness of garlic does not end there. In fact, it is used in a number of crafts. We have already considered some of them, and now we will consider something else. So, let's go back to our diffuser. To create it, we will need an alchemical cauldron. With it, we will create the core of the diffuser. To do this, we will need garlic and white wool. When the core is ready, we can craft the diffuser itself. Craft is like this. This diffuser puts garlic, weakness, and second-level deceleration effects on vampires, and also prevents vampire mobs from spawning. So with it, you can drive them away from your base, as well as greatly weaken the vampire players. They won't be able to use some of their abilities, like turning into a bat. The action of the simplest diffuser extends to one chang, from the thigh to the sky. Then, in the branch of alchemists, we are offered to choose to learn how to light garlic or to learn how to make enhanced holy water. Enhanced holy water will damage bloodsuckers harder, removes about 8 hearts, which is quite acceptable in the fight against weak vampires. However, for stronger vampires, it's just about nothing. If you have a skill open, then holy water is crafted by default, immediately improved. I don't know if improved holy water is really needed, but lighting garlic is a very useful thing. This is done in an alchemical cauldron with the help of holy water. As a result, we get these things that give us a garlic diffuser. Take the illuminated garlic in your hand and right-click it on the diffuser. This thing will impose blindness on vampires in addition to all the usual debuffs, and the garlic effect will become as much as the 3rd level. True, the effect of the boost is not very long, but at the moment when you are fighting with a crowd of vampires, it can be very good for you. Well, then we have the opportunity to make a more powerful diffuser, the effect of which will extend in the area of 3 to 3 chunks. To do this, we will have to make an improved garlic kernel. This is done again in an alchemical cauldron. We will need a simple core and holy water, but the water should not be simple and not improved, but special. How to get it otherwise than to find it in the treasures, I did not understand. Perhaps it can be bought from a special resident, but somehow it did not come across to me as a trade item. Maybe I was just unlucky. The improved diffuser itself is crafted in the same way as a simple one, but an improved one is put in place of the usual core. The last ability in this branch is alertness to vampires. It manifests itself in such a way that when you approach a vampire, a red frame begins to cover your vision. That is, if you are wandering, for example, somewhere in the dungeons, used this ability, and suddenly saw that the frame was blushing, it means that there is a vampire somewhere nearby. This ability is called From the Skill Socket. It works for quite a long time, and it has a rollback. As far as this ability can be considered necessary, I doubt, to be honest, because it doesn't work on all monsters, but only on vampires, considering that zombies, skeletons, creepers, and so on have not gone away and still continue to spoil our lives. Spending an extra skill point, I personally feel sorry for it, but maybe someone will disagree with me. If we look closely at the Fashion tab, we will see a number of things with a special marking. These things cannot be crafted, at least not yet. They must be found somewhere in the treasures or traded. This applies to weapons and armor, as well as to every little thing like holy water. Well, here we have reviewed all the skills of hunters. Let's talk about the village now. In the previous part, we have already looked at how the mod affects villages, but I think it's worth looking at them from the point of view of a vampire hunter now. As I said, we have added a couple of residents in lilac aprons, some of whom are expert vampires, and some are expert hunters. Being a cool hunter and constantly fighting with bloodsuckers, you will eventually get so many fangs that you will get tired of decorating your house. Then you can turn to these wonderful little men and give them these fangs in exchange, for example, 4 emeralds. They can also be used to dump extra vampire books. Expert hunters are different. If you look closely, you can see a blue inscription above some of them. These are especially useful to us hunters. They have vampire souls, which by the way fall out if you beat vampires with hunting weapons. You can buy hunting armor of different quality, up to a special 1, garlic, well, or exchange 4 diamonds. True, the prices for them are frankly not small, but these souls are still no longer needed for anything. And there are also special priests, who look like ordinary ones, but are called alchemist priests. If you need holy water or holy salt, then you cannot craft them yourself, but buy from these very priests. You already know everything about totems in villages from the previous part. Being hunters, you will also definitely be able to capture a neutral village or recapture it from vampires. To do this, you will have to fight with the bloodsuckers who have run up, as well as those residents who have defected to their side. When the village is under your control, the blood of the inhabitants will be poisonous to vampires, but you already know that too. Well, it remains to talk about the hunters. I have already told you about the trainer, but besides him, simple hunters and advanced hunters will also spawn in the world. They spawn either in villages or near small tent camps that are found everywhere in the world. Usually in such camps, there is a campfire and 1 or more tents. The tent can be knocked down, some inexpensive resource will fall out of it, maybe a coal of a board or food. If you are dying of hunger, then you may well try to cover the tents. After you break them, they will fall out as a whole object along with the resource inside. But keep in mind that even if you then put the tent in place, it will cease to be a spawn place for hunters. I can't craft a tent in any way, at least I didn't find any crafting, but it is quite possible to make a bonfire. Craft 3 logs and a coal block, but a similar fire is purely decorative. I couldn't fry anything on it, not even myself. As you can see, you can stand on it and it does not cause any damage. So, ordinary hunters. They come with different amounts of health. Personally, I have seen from 15 units to 55. They come across with crossbows and axes and stakes. By the way, the texture of the axe in the hunter's hands remained the same. Perhaps the developer decided that let it be a hammer with which the hunter drives a stake into the heart of a vampire. Advanced hunters, like advanced vampires, have their own names and skins, and they are named after the people who provided their support to the developers of the mod. Well, plus some more random names. Of course, advanced hunters are much stronger than simple ones, both in health and in damage inflicted. And besides, they are able to call for the help of ordinary hunters. Well, and one last thing that I must definitely tell you about. There is a saying you can't win join. If you have been fighting evil for a long time, and you are already tired of it, then not everything is lost for you. Of course, vampire bites don't affect you, but you can still get rid of immunity with vampire funginers. To do this, you need to make a syringe, collect 8 fangs, and arrange everything in a workbench like this. You will receive a vampire injection. You don't need a chaise longue to use it. Just take it in your hand and right-click. After that, you will die and turn into a human. Of course, you will lose all hunter levels, but you will be able to get infected, and then happily run around the map and suck the blood out of your friends and mobs. That's basically all I could tell you about this wonderful fashion. I don't know about you, but I got the impression that the developer likes vampires more than hunters. Even the weapons and cloaks of vampires are better worked out than those of hunters. Nevertheless, I really like the mod, and I am especially pleased that the developers listen to the ideas and complaints of the players. I can tell you this from personal experience. Write in the comments under the video, who do you like more, vampires or hunters? And also, what would you like to fix or add to the Vampirism mod? I will be very interested to know your opinion. Thanks to everyone, dear friends, who watched this guide review. I hope he was interesting to you. Maybe he helped someone in some way. Don't forget to give your husky to the world of Nyashka. And see you soon. Bye-bye.